I learn from people, man. I've always been the type of guy to look at people and see how people recover from different things. For a long time, I would meet people and they'd say, "This is my nephew. His name is Tony." And I look at him and they go, "He's 16." I look at the 16-year-old and I go, "Could he go through what I went through at 16? And I look at people and I get sad. I get sad for years. I go,
I can relate to that.
Look at how young that kid is.
I can relate
no
to that.
wonder I'm fucking nuts. But when I was 19, I met this guy, sweetheart of a guy. Guy drank 3 beers and hugged you, but he was in love with this girl. He had been with her. If I was 19, this guy was maybe 22. He drove the bus to pick you up when you went whitewater rafting at the bottom of the river. He was
like a shuttle?
Yeah, he was from Minnesota, and he had a bunch of friends out here, and he had moved to Minnesota with a girl. He had moved to Colorado with a girl, and I would talk to them, and they had been dating since they were 14. Like, they were each other's first,
right?
Whatever. And they went to Colorado, and everything was fine. They lived in an apartment with a bunch of other guys, and, you know, they partied. They were young. I was on the first floor, so I would hear them. And I became friends with all when we played tackle football. And I was in Colorado for the first year. And just before I got to leave, there was a rumor going around that they broke up. And one day I saw him, and I could tell he was a little weird. And I asked him, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He goes, "You know, me and Keels broke up." "Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that." And then I heard rumblings that she had started dating a guy in the apartment. So she left
that
him.
he lived in.
It's like me, you, Lee, grew up together.
Ugh.
It was 13 of them in a 3-bedroom house.
Jesus Christ.
And what they did was they all wanted to ski. When you're 20, you'll do things you won't do when you're 30. When you're 20, you go, "Wait a second, Joey. So if I give you $150 a month, that's my corner right there."
Yeah.
That's how minded. I don't give a fuck. As long as I can put my skis outside and ski and maybe bartend once a week.
I'll take the couch.
I'll take the fucking couch. When you're 20, you do. So I went up there a couple times. The place was spotless. But in that apartment, you know, it was like 12 people, 3 bedrooms and a living room, and the one guy had a tent outside and fucking interesting shit. And they were nice kids and they had parties. But I watched this guy. And he was a daredevil. So in the summer, he drove.
How old are you at this time in your life?
I'm 19.
Okay.
I'm 19.
Oh, you're young. Yeah.
I'm a dishwasher. Comedy is not on my horizon by no means.
Right.
The only thing that was on my horizon was crime. There was no other thing on my horizon. I used to get drunk and do creepy fucking shit back then. I would get drunk and do a line of coke and burglarize places when I was drunk. It was fucking creepy. But
it's crazy. I always picture you as older in Colorado.
No.
But you're fucking 19.
He
was a kid.
I was
a kid in Colorado. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I left. And when I left, I kept in touch with people. And they'd always tell me, "Did you hear what happened? This motherfucker hit under a car one night. The dude that she cheated on." Like, okay, so...
The guy that's your buddy?
Okay, so my buddy, and so now there's rumbling. So I leave Colorado, and I keep in touch with this kid Mikey and this kid Jimmy. And every time I talk to him, I say, "What's going on with this guy?" And they go, "Dog, we forgot to tell you. He caught her in bed finally one night with the dude." And it was so traumatizing for him that I had to get his number and call him and go, "Hey, man, how you doing?" He's like, "You know, he never, and I remember that going, that guy can't wrap his head around this. This is too much for him."
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
And
From 14 years old?
From 14, now they were 21, and they were going to get married and have kids and go back to Minneapolis. And now she leaves him for a guy in the apartment. Not only that, he walks in one night and she's on top of him, bouncing up and down.
Oh,
He packs
that
up.
would make sense.
He packs his bag. He moves out. Okay. He gets an apartment. He's getting eaten alive. One night, she goes to a bar with a bunch of girls, and they all go into different cars. She goes into her car. As she's going into a car, she feels a hand grab her ankle. He was hiding under the car. She put a restraining order, but she put a restraining order on him before this. He wasn't violent or anything, guys. He just wanted to know why. That's it. I remember calling him, and he was crying. And he's like, "Oh, I wanted to know why." By the time I got back to Colorado, he was drinking 4 or 5 nights a week. And this guy was a good-looking blonde dude that was built. Mm-hmm. He could get pussy the next day. He had no problem. Personality, smile, always smiling, cracking jokes, never had a T-shirt on.
But it's the only pussy he ever knew.
Yeah, and now he had to readjust. And guys, I saw this guy's demise. in front of me that his parents had to come from Minnesota, pick him up, and put him in a mental health in 1987. This went down in 83.
How old was he at the time?
He was 21, and by the time he was 25 or 26,
He's fucked up.
his parents had to come get him and put him like in a fucking psychiatric ward. That always messed with me because he couldn't recover from her pussy, and I get it. I never know what happened to him. You know, I talked to one of the girls, and I said, whatever happened to Big Mike? And they're like, you know what? He went to that place, and he was in there for years, supposedly. And it was all because he wanted to know why. The shock of him seeing that woman bouncing on top. And guys, this girl, I think they put me in a mental health facility too.
Really?
She was no joke. Yeah, she was
Really?
thick. She had black hair, beautiful face.
Big tits.
Just a body and a half. And she lost it too. She ended up selling blow for a while and some shit went down. But it's amazing how he could not wrap his hands around it. And I saw it. Guys, when I went back in 84, 85, he was 80 pounds heavier, sloppy, body odor, saying weird shit, I'm thinking about joining the fucking service. And he wanted to go over, what was the big war, Beirut?
In what year?
86, 87.
Yeah, that's probably Beirut.
He was
neck
talking
of the
about
woods, yeah.
Beirut, going to Beirut and shooting motherfuckers. I mean, this guy was a peace-loving fucking American. And all of a sudden, one day, 6 months later, I hear, dog,
Doesn't give a fuck.
his mom came and got him and had to take him back with the father in like a jacket strapped, you know, and that's it. And it's how he dealt with it. You know, I think they would have wrapped me in a jacket if I didn't have my friends and the drugs. I don't know.
What was harder to get through, the drugs or the divorce?
The divorce. The
Really?
divorce.
More than coke?
Listen, man, when somebody fucking
More than
takes-
anything in your life. That was the
divorce
hardest thing
killed
you
me.
went through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the divorce destroyed my inside.
Why do you think that is?
Because listen, I accept as a man, I accept that you're not in love with me no more.
Sure.
I accept that.
What couldn't you
I
accept?
wasn't in love with her. I couldn't accept her taking a child's love and switching it around. I couldn't accept how
Lack of control?
her parents were these people that went to church 7 days a week. They donated to the church. When you went over there, they spoke at the church. They were fucking great people. You know, she was raised in this home that I would have given my hand to be raised in this home. I was telling Mick Betancourt the other day, I go, Mick, when we were kids, you know, there's people who came from a mom and a dad family with sisters and a dog, and they had the station wagon. And the summers they went to Florida and they lived like normal people. Then you had kids like us that were missing a parent.
Same here.
The moms drank. And you know what? You watched the Waltons, and from time to time you said, you know what? I'd trade my mom in to live with the fucking Waltons to say
You know, when I
goodbye
was
to them.
younger, you know, my father was a big drinker. Both of my grandparents died from addiction or disease one way or another. I haven't talked to my father in 20-something years. Child molester, used to fight me like a man when I was 7. Like I saw shit. By the time I was 7, I saw shit most people shouldn't have seen. And then, you know, luckily for me, my mother left my father for a woman. So I was raised by lesbians from like early 80s, you know, still have lesbian, you know, parents. You know, I was 12 going on 34. You know what I mean? I had seen shit. You know, I'd been to more funerals than weddings, even today. You know, I was going to AIDS funerals in the 80s when, like, you know, and I was 12, 13, you know. It's like you grow up in that. And so I don't know. I think certain people get to see a little too much at a younger age, you know. And it sounds like you can relate to that.
I always tell people that I'm jaded. There's parts of me that are very much jaded. And I'm jaded from that early age because, you know, and I know Michael Jackson made this a big thing in his life that he didn't have a childhood. You know what, man? I didn't have a childhood.
Kind of didn't either?
Because I didn't want a childhood. When I was 13, playing fucking Battleship was not what I wanted to do. When I was 10, it was not what I wanted to do.
Agreed.
So I always felt very insecure that I wasn't like the rest of the kids. I've told on this podcast 1,000 times, being 12 or 13, And all these kids in the neighborhood telling me about, man, you got to watch this show, Saturday Night Live, Mr. Bill, Samurai Night Fever. And I went home and watched it and said, this isn't funny. I'm not laughing one fucking time. And I couldn't fucking figure it out.